Welcome. I'm here with Jess Fries, Chairman of His Royal Highness's Accounting for Sustainability project. We're talking about United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and how they shape the role of accountants in terms of how accountants can save the world. Jessica, we've had some fair amount of discussion and details, and we're now building up a little bit of understanding of the 17 SDGs. One of the things that I'm interested in is actually some of the interdependencies that you've been talking about. The idea that maybe at the bottom there's biodiversity, in the middle society, and at the apex the economy. Can you sort of elaborate on how these interdependencies work?
If you look at the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, 17 sounds like quite a lot to have as a focus for goals, and certainly when the United Nations created them there was a lot of debate about that. But if you then pick into the detail, what the SDGs do, which I think is different to other frameworks that have come before from a global level, they really cut across those social, economic, environmental dimensions and are really trying to set out that pathway, that aspiration for what we can do, where we can get to in the future. And of course, a lot of the actions that we're taking and the consequences of those actions are interdependent. So I just give one example around that. Something like life on land is clearly very closely connected with something like health and well-being and poverty through food and our ability to create food in the context of a growing global population, growing demand for food, and then also growing demand for land to meet some of the other goals like energy and maybe land needed for renewables or for other natural processes to tackle something like climate change. So the goals are very interconnected, but one of the things that has been highlighted is how ultimately we are dependent on the natural environment. So as society, we live off the land, we breathe the air, and there are finite limits for some of those natural processes that through the process of economic development, we are starting to hit and exceed those natural limits. So we really need to rethink how we go about economic development, and really clearly there's a role for accountants within that so that we can have a prosperous society for all.